Welcome back to the Inner Citadel, episode 3. Last time we talked about Maya, the fundamental illusion that the world is separate from consciousness. Today we are going even deeper. We are talking about the ego, the voice in your head, the I that's always talking, judging, wanting, fearing. The sense of being a separate person. Most people think this voice is them. They think I am my thoughts, I am this personality, I am this person, or I am that. But the sages like Ramana Maharishi, Nisargadatta, the Buddha, they all said the same thing. The ego is an illusion, a phantom, your greatest enemy. And until you see it for what it is, you'll never be free. Let's expose it. So, what is the ego? What exactly it is? In Sanskrit, it's called ahamkar, literally I maker. It's the mechanism that creates a sense of being a separate, independent person. The voice that says, I am this, I want this, I don't like that, what will people think of me? I need to protect myself, I, me, and mine. Where does it come from? It's created by consciousness, appearing in consciousness. Here's how: awareness. Before thought, before identity, there is just awareness. Not aware of anything in particular, just pure being, like a clear mirror before any images appear. Like a it's like a newborn baby, a just born child. Then the first identification happens. Awareness becomes aware of a body. Thought arises, this is my body. First identifications, I am this body. We are given name for this body, which is not ours in reality. It is of the nature, created from the nature, created of and built up of the five Panchamahabhutas. So then the story builds. More thoughts, I am this age, this gender, this nationality, memories, I did this in the past, this happened to me, and plans, I want this future, I fear that outcome. Then ego grows thicker by constantly thinking and believing that I am the doer, claiming ownership over the actions. Then the complete identification, that total belief like I am this person, this story, this identity. Forget that you are awareness. And we start to believe that we are the image, the reflection in the mirror, and the ego dominates. So, what the ego really is, it is like a thought pattern, collection of thoughts about me, a mental construct, not a real entity, just an appearance in awareness, like a character in a dream. And what the ego is not your true nature, that's awareness, not permanent, changes constantly, not real in the ultimate sense, it's Maya, appearance, not reality. So, how the ego operates? The ego has specific mechanics. Let me show you. Mechanism 1: identification. The ego survives by identifying with things. I am a man, identification with gender. I am Indian, I am Canadian, identification with the nationality. I am successful, identification with the achievements. I am a bodybuilder, I am a businessman, identification with body. I am smart or I am dumb, identification with intellect. Every I am X is a statement that strengthens the ego. So, why is this a problem? When you identify with something, you become vulnerable. If I am identified as successful and I fail, I suffer because my identity is threatened. If I am identified as smart and I make a mistake, I suffer because my identity is threatened. And if I am identified as my body and the body ages and grows and suffer diseases, then I also suffer because my identity is threatened. The ego creates vulnerability through identification. Then there is mechanism number 2, which is desire and aversion. The ego constantly wants things. I want more money, I want love, I want recognition, I want security. And it constantly avoids things like I don't want to be embarrassed, I don't want to fear, I don't want pain, I don't want death. But why is that? Because the ego believes it's incomplete. It believes it's lacking something. If I get X, then I'll be happy. If I avoid Y, then I'll be safe. This is the trap. Desire and aversion keep you in constant motion, always seeking, always avoiding, never at rest, never satisfied. You get what you want, happy for a moment, then want something else. You avoid what you fear, relief for a moment, then fear something else. The ego ensures you are never at peace. Then there is mechanism number 3, which is comparison. The ego constantly compares. Am I better than him or her? Is she prettier than me? Do I have more than them? Am I good enough? But why? Because the ego's sense of self is relative. It doesn't know who it is in absolute terms, so it constantly measures itself against others. If you are better, ego feels inflated, which is pride. If you are worse, ego feels deflated, like shame and enviness. Either way, you suffer. Pride, like fragile, can be deflated any moment. Then shame, which is painful, like self hatred. Then envy, which is corrosive, resenting others. Then there is mechanism number 4, which is the inner critic. The ego has a voice that constantly judges. You are not good enough, you will never succeed, everyone's better than you are a failure. This is the ego attacking itself. But why? Because the ego is fundamentally insecure. It knows it's not real at some deep level. So it's constantly trying to prove it exists, prove it's worthy, prove it's real. And when it fails, which it always does, because it's chasing something impossible, it attacks itself. Then why the ego is your enemy? Isn't the ego necessary for survival, for functioning in the world? I think it may be no. But let me be clear. What's necessary? A functional sense of this body versus that body. So you don't walk into walls. Memory, so you remember your name, your address, how to function. Then preferences. This food taste is good. Then fire, which is dangerous. But what's not necessary? The belief that you are the body and mind. The constant mental commentary, I, me, and mine. The endless seeking and avoiding, desire and aversion, the comparisons and judgment, better or worse. The ego is not helping you, it's torturing you. How the ego creates suffering? But number 1 is constant inadequacy. The ego always feels like it's not enough, not rich enough, not attractive enough, not accomplished enough, not loved enough. But why? Because the ego is fundamentally based on a lie that you are a limited, separate person, that you have a separate identity, and no matter what you achieve or acquire, that lie doesn't become true. So the ego keeps seeking, keeps trying to fill the void. But the void can be filled by external things because the void is the ego itself. Then there is like fear of death. The ego is terrified of death. Why? Because death means the end of the ego. The body dies, the thoughts stop, the story ends. But the ego, this constructed sense of I, will disappear. So the ego spends enormous energy trying to avoid death, deny death, distract from death. But here's the secret. Your true nature, which is awareness, cannot die. It is beyond birth and death. Awareness was here before the body was born. Awareness will be here after the body dies. The body is a temporary appearance in awareness. When the body dies, awareness doesn't die. Only the ego dies. The sense of me as a separate doer, that dies. And the ego's fear of death is what makes life a prison. And third is like endless conflict. The ego creates conflict. The ego creates division. Me versus them. My country versus your country. My religion versus your religion. My opinion versus your opinion. All conflict, all hatred, everything comes from the ego's sense of separation. When you identify as a separate me, everyone else becomes other. And others are threats, competitors, and obstacles. But when you see through the ego, there is no me. separate from you. We are both appearances in the same consciousness, like waves in the ocean arguing over which wave is separate. They are all ocean, they are all water, in essence. When the ego dissolves, conflict dissolves. Then there's like how to dissolve the ego. How do I get rid of the ego? Here's the paradox. You can't get rid of the ego. But why? Because the you that wants to get rid of the ego is the ego. It's like the eye trying to see itself or a sword trying to cut itself. Can't be done. So, what's the solution? It's as simple as it may sound. It is see it. Don't fight it. Don't try to destroy it. Just see it for what it is. Be still and see it. Just see it what it is in reality. Does it exist? Or is it just an illusion that a separate me, a separate doer exists other than the awareness? An appearance, a phantom, a collection of thoughts, not real, not you. Right now, notice the voice in your head, the one that's listening to me, commenting and judging. This is interesting. I agree with this. I don't know about that. This is disgusting. That's the ego. Now ask yourself, who is aware of that voice? If you can hear the voice, you are not the voice. You are the awareness of the voice. The ego is an object in awareness. You are the awareness, not the object. Throughout the day, whenever you think, I want, I need, I am, ask, who is this I? Don't try to answer intellectually. Actually, look, where is this I? Is it in your head, your heart, your body? When you really look, you can't find it. It's like trying to grab a smoke. The I is a thought, not a real entity. See the patterns. Notice when the ego is operating. When you are comparing yourself to others, ego is active. When you are defending your opinion, ego is active. When you are worried what people will think about you, ego is active. When you are seeking validation, ego is active. Don't judge it, just notice. There's the ego again. Comparing, seeking, defending. The more you see it, the less power it has. Because awareness is the light that dissolves the ego. But what happens when the ego dissolves? What not happens? Let's first address this. You become passive. You still act, but without the I attachment. You lose your personality. No. You still have preferences, humor, uniqueness, but you are not identified with them. Life becomes meaningless. But in actually the opposite. Life becomes more vivid when you are not filtering everything through the ego. But you stop taking everything personally, like criticism doesn't hurt, praise doesn't inflate. You stop comparing. No better, no worse, just what it is. You stop fearing death. The ego dies, awareness does. You are at peace, not dependent on external validation. So let me summarize. The ego is the sense of being a separate person, a thought pattern, not a real entity. Your greatest enemy creates suffering through identification, desire, and comparison. The ego operates through identification. I am this, I am that. Desire and aversion. I want, I don't want. Comparison. Am I better? Am I worse? The inner critic. You are not enough. You can destroy the ego by force, but you can see through it. Witness the voice. You are the awareness, not the voice. Question the I. Where is it? It can be found. Notice the patterns, comparisons, seeking, defending. When the ego is seen, it loses its power. So, in the next episode, we'll talk about the witness, the one who is aware of the ego, aware of thoughts, aware of everything, which is our true nature, the unchanging awareness in which all of life happens and appears. This is where freedom begins. Until then, watch the ego, don't believe its stories. This is the inner citadel. Stay strong.